So the Shaman cards just dropped. I'm revealing this at 3:10 p.m., which means 10 minutes after the latest reveal of Shaman cards. So I'm going to be going through them and seeing, or talking about what they could possibly be doing for Wild, which isn't very much. I'll just start with that. Again, I'm using Hearthpwn. I'll put a link in the description for it. As someone noted, I haven't been doing, and I'm very sorry for that. Okay, the first card is 7 mana, 7/7, Elemental, Scar, the Catastrophe. Battlecry, deal 1 damage to all enemies. Improved by each turn in a row you've played an Elemental. This card, as has been noted to me, will probably not be very good in Wild. It is very situational and kind of just depends on the meta if this card will actually be good. There was talk about if it could be played in Shutterwalk Shaman. Elemental Shaman just doesn't really care about a card like this very much. It's an Ender card, and that's kind of not really the issue with that deck, is from my understanding, it doesn't really have an issue with ending the game. It has an issue with playing the game to begin with. I'm going to give this card I'm going to give it an unplayable for at least this expansion. It could become better in the future, but for Wild, this card doesn't seem very good right now. Walking Mountain. 9 mana, 4/16 Elemental, Rush, Lifesteal, Mega Wind Fury, Overload 2. This card is a lot of stats, a lot of keywords, a lot of effects. The issue is Big Shaman doesn't care about this card that much because it's kind of just worse than Neptulon, and Neptulon's like the king of Big Shaman. It might be good enough in Big Shaman. That's like a possible thing. Big Shaman's not very good right now. Even in a meta where it could be pretty decent, like Big Shaman could be decent right now, and this card's already not seeing any play. You can summon it off of Thunderbringer, which is pretty interesting, I'll admit, but I don't think this card sees any play whatsoever, especially because like it has Overload 2, so if you ever for some reason have to play this card, it just makes Big Shaman even worse. So I don't think this card sees any play. Minecart Cruiser. 3 mana, 4/5, Rush, Overload 2. Battlecry, if you played an Elemental last turn, don't Overload. This card definitely goes in Elemental Shaman. That's not a question. It's just, like, this card will be playable in Elemental Shaman. That's not a question. Elemental Shaman obviously isn't that great, so you might not see it, but this card is a definitive playable. It's just, of course, like I'm saying, Elemental Shaman's not that great, so you probably won't see it to begin with. Okay, this card has got people really angry. Dr. Holiday, 5 mana, 4/5, Battlecry. If your deck has no duplicates, equip the Staff of 9 Frogs. What you're thinking is, Staff of 9 Frogs, what's that going to be? Me specifically, and now some of the Shaman Discord people actually, are calling it Staff of 9 Losses. Staff of 9 Frogs, 5 mana, 2/9 weapon. After your hero attacks, summon a 1/1 frog with taunt. Each frog is bigger than the last, so it's going to be 1/1, 2/2, all the way up to 9/9. This card is like absurdly slow. Like it's insane how slow this card is, right? What's interesting is if this card had been printed now, it would be playable currently, actually, because of Questline Druid. And Questline Druid is the best deck in the game, right? But Questline Druid is getting nerfed, and of course, we're getting a new expansion, so Questline Druid probably won't be the best deck in the game anymore. So this card literally came, is coming 2 weeks too late, 3 weeks too late, which is so crazy. So I don't think this card sees really any play in Shaman. Even might not even see play in a Reno Shaman is actually kind of interesting. This card might not even see play in Reno Shaman. So it is what it is. Trusty Companion. 2 mana, give a minion +2/+3. If it has a minion type, draw one of that type. This card is incredibly good. This is arguably the best card Shaman got this entire expansion. One of, at least. So you can play this in Elemental Shaman, Murloc Shaman, Even Shaman, because every single one of those decks is a tribal deck. And then this is Hand of Doll, which was 2 mana 2/2, but better because it's pre-nerf Hand of a Doll with +1 stat. This card is definitely playable in Wild, not even a question. And it is arguably the best card Shaman got this entire expansion. Okay, well, they took too long to update on Hearthstone, and I was waiting for 10 minutes, and they just haven't done it. I don't know what Imic's doing, but here's his Twitter. This is the next card. Amphibious Elixir. Restore 5 health, discover spell, 2 mana spell, nature spell. This card's pretty bad. Doesn't feel like it's going to be played in any list in Wild. It doesn't really do anything for any of the current lists, and there's not like a nature shaman running around that wants a card like this, so and I don't think this card's gonna be playable at all. I think it is unplayable. Yeah, 7 mana, nature spell, giant tumbleweed, deal 6 damage all minions, summon a 6/6 tumbleweed. So this card's just way too slow for Wild. It's kind of similar to Harmonic Pop, which can be 6 mana, deal 6 all minions, summon a 3/3, and that card's already too slow. I don't think you have any reason to play this card, which is a little unfortunate because, you know, a card like this could be cool if it was 6 mana, but yeah, and then of course over here is the Tumbleweed, but yeah, I just don't think this card makes the cut in any Wild deck whatsoever. And now the last card, Cactus Cutter. Battlecry, draw a spell. If you cast it this turn, gain +1/+2 and taunt. Murloc. This card is also incredibly powerful, especially with the Trusty Companion card that was also just revealed. You play this, you're going to draw a spell, and this is a Murloc card, so this is good for Murloc Shaman, of course. So you play this, then you play Trusty Companion or something on another minion, whatever. This is going to be a 2 mana 3/4, which is great. That drew you a card, and then Trusty Companion will give another card, or sorry, another minion 2/3 and draw another card. So that's a lot of card draw from Murloc Shaman, which it kind of struggling in, all things considered. And now they have things like Howdy Finn. This card's going to be... Murloc Shaman might be real this expansion, genuinely. So that's very interesting, and I definitely think this card is playable in Wild. Yeah, so that being said, tell me what you think about these cards. I think I'm pretty spot on. I've been talking to a lot of the people from the Shaman Discord about their effects on, or their thoughts on these cards, and a lot of them aren't very impressed with many of the ones aside from things like Trusty Companion or Cactus Cutter. So I'm not too worried as a person that doesn't like Shaman very much to play. I'm not too worried, but I do think that these cards, like these last two cards, Cactus Cutter and Trusty Companion, will definitely be playable, unlike most of the other cards.